Hello and welcome to the third video in the series that we're going through. Here we're going to look at a variety of types of experiments, and it's really going to introduce the other two videos in the series where we'll go into more depth about the specifics of a couple of these. So first we're going to define what the following types of experiments are that we're going through and identify what's really making them different from each other. And we want to identify the strengths and weaknesses of each type of experiment. This we won't completely get through in this video. It's going to be extended on some of the other videos that you're supposed to watch. So the first type of study is a case study. A case study is less of a type of study where you'd be going through the scientific method and more of just an observational study. So you're looking at a few people or just a single person and recording a specific situation. For example, the person's diet might lack a particular nutrient, and then they have this disease, and you just might report this. In this case, this is a goiter. We now know that it's due to deficiency in iodine, a essential nutrient, essential mineral that we need. But first, before we knew what caused this, you would have had the case studies where these people are lacking in this particular nutrient and they have disease A, or probably more likely these people have the disease A and this person has disease A and this is what their diet looks like. Another type of study is our in vitro studies. So in vitro means in the test tube. So these are going to be studies where you're taking cells or tissues outside of the body and performing specific experiments on them. The advantage to this is that you can do many things that you can't do with animal studies or with people studies. And you cannot actually let you elucidate the mechanism that specific types of nutrients might actually be having. But as far as how the nutrients are going to respond in the much more complex human body, this is less of a indicator of that. So while it is useful for mechanistic and kind of informing other experiments, it's not going to tell you specifically how the nutrients will perform in whole individuals, usually. Of course, animal studies are useful for the study of nutrition. They're very powerful because you can perform experiments where you can show the effect of specific treatments. So you could take a group of rats and show that when you keep them from getting a specific nutrient, another disease may actually cause. Of course, there's always ethical issues when you're using living animals, humans or animals, and you have to balance the benefit of the study with the cost of what the sort of pain the animals are going to actually go through. And there's committees that do this regularly. But it does allow us to look at how animals or individuals can be affected by certain treatments, either preventing them from getting a nutrient, giving them a nutrient, or what have you. One of the limitations of animals are that they are animals and they're not humans. So while you can extrapolate to some degree that some of these things might be true in humans, it's really sort of an introductory study that you can do before you actually perform it in humans. But there are also things that you can do to animals that by no means should you ever do to humans. Studies on effects of things that you may know that are toxic, for example, or treating them with drugs before you actually know the mechanism the drug is doing or what the drug might have on whole organisms. It's really hard to do these on humans, and so that's why animals must be used in these situations. Limitation, they are animals. So the different animals that we use are usually associated with different things that are similar to humans. Nutritionally, our digestive system and how we respond to digestion are actually very closely mimicked with pigs. So a lot of nutritional studies are performed on pigs, but rats are another common one. Primates can also be a common substitute for humans as well. Rats being because they are cheap, but they do have a lot of differences that the pigs don't have. So there's benefits to using specific types of animals in different types of studies. There's also epidemiological studies. So these are studies of whole populations. We will see, because we'll elaborate on this in another video, that epidemiological studies can only show us correlations. For example, you might look at the amount of nutrient X in a country's food supply, and you can see that as you have populations that are getting lower in nutrient X or higher in nutrient X, the incidence of a specific disease might increase in the country. So the 6 country studies, or the 7 country studies, might be the most famous of these, where they looked at the amount of fat that was consumed in several different countries, and then also looked at the incidence of heart disease in these different countries. And they found a positive correlation with this. Now, one of the issues is that you can't actually show causation with epidemiological studies. So while they're very good at informing other research, it's hard to make conclusive recommendations based solely on epidemiological studies, because you don't know if it's actually causing it or just a factor that's associated with it for different reasons, as we'll see in another video. And then the kind of gold standard for nutritional studies, or pretty much any study in human populations or in humans, is intervention studies or clinical trials. So if we take 2 groups and give one group foods containing a nutrient and the other people lacking a nutrient, we will then see if the rate of one illness is going to vary between these 2 different groups. So with these, you can show causation with a relative high certainty, because you are hopefully keeping everything constant between these groups, and it's just the one thing that's different between the 2 groups. So if one group gets it and the other group does not, and then one group develops disease and the other does not, you can say with high confidence that the thing that you gave the one group may have prevented or caused the disease. I show this picture over here. This is related to Daniel. So Daniel was one of the first patients, or first people that underwent a clinical trial. So way back in the when they were in Babylon, the king's soldiers wanted Daniel and the other Israelites to take and start eating the diets like them. Daniel said, "No, wait a minute. We want to continue our kosher diet or whatever. So feed us fruits, vegetables, what have you, for 10 days. Compare us to your soldiers who are continuing to eat just their regular military foods, which were high meat, very satisfying, and see how we look in 10 days. And so they did this, and Daniel's men looked very good on the vegetarian diet, and so Daniel and the other Israelites were allowed to maintain their diets from this. So this is really the first case of, or in recorded history, of individuals undergoing essentially an intervention study or a clinical trial.